Hello and welcome to this examination of Old Granddad Bonded Bourbon Whiskey. Okay, now it's got a high rye mash bill. It's Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. It's 100 proof. And to be bonded, it has to be 100 proof. That's according to the United States Bonded Whiskey Law of 1897. Old Granddad Distillery. Well, that's Beam-Suntory, the Jim Beam Distillery, Claremont, and Frankfort, Kentucky. All right, the company started distilling in 1840. This brand was registered, trademark was registered in 1882, all right? So it's been around a good while. They had an 86 proof, that was the standard bourbon, and it was dropped around, one source said 2013, that sounds plausible, but it wasn't very long ago, last about 4 years. So some video reviews for this one, you'll see the 86 proof, which is gone, and the 80 proof. There is also a 114 proof expression that came out a few years ago. I saw it at Mathern's. I haven't tried it. I don't have a bottle. One day maybe down the line I'll get one. I like these flask bottles. They're kind of nice, 375 milliliter glass. Bought them at the Citgo station on Louisiana Highway 3188 southbound. For the two bottles together, I think it was exactly $20 after tax. And that's what you're going to pay for one regular bottle. And so I was glad to get both. All right, there's the date, guys. It says L6012. So I guess that's the 12th day of 2016. CLK. Was that Claremont? CL Claremont, Kentucky, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, here we go. Never had it. There's some video reviews for it. I intend to watch those in the next few days. Should be interesting. I read some written reviews on Proof 66. People were saying, well, some people were saying it's better, it's worse. You know, Beam-Suntory brought it back to what it used to be, and somebody else was saying they ruined it. I don't know. I never had it before the buyout. There's been many buyouts, okay? But the Old Granddad, the Old Crow, they were W.A. Gaines, Old Crow Distilling, their own company. Okay, and they were bought out by Jim Beam's company, the Beam Company, in 1987. They shut down the Old Crow Distillery, brought all the production to their facilities, all right? And then Suntory bought out Beam. That's a famous Japanese whiskey company, all right? That's the nature of the beverage industry, the food and beverage industry buyouts. It's been going on for so long, but a lot of the people in the beer world didn't get the memo. Every time there's a buyout, they kind of have a nervous breakdown, like this is something new here. But anyway, it has a dark amber appearance, just like the Old Crow 100 proof bottle that I have, the 1977 bottle, and the Wild Turkey 101 from 1983. Those are a lot darker amber than your 80 proof bourbons, which usually are a medium gold, a medium amber. And then you get to your blended whiskeys, like Beam's 8 Star, which is probably blended with the Jim Beam, and that's even what am I trying to say? Like a pale amber, yeah, a pale amber. Nice little alcohol eggs, nothing. Oh yeah, it is starting to develop there on the back side of it. Okay. Now the old bonded whiskeys until 1983 had a stamp on the neck. It was glued onto the neck. And when you cracked it open, it broke the stamp and you knew it had been opened. That was no longer required after 1983. But you still have some companies that'll, most of your bonded whiskeys, you'll notice they use a green part there in the label to kind of harken back to 1983 and before, 1897 to 83. The good thing about the old stamps is it would tell you when it was distilled, fall or spring of a particular year, the fall season or spring season, and it would tell you when it was bottled. Now you no longer get that. How long is this aged? I wasn't able to find out anything on their website, honestly. 4 years, 5, 6. What is the bonded bottle rule? At least to be a bourbon, it has to be 2 years. Bonded, I think it's 4. And it has to be in, there's a particular regimen to follow. You can look that up on the Tax and Trade Bureau website, or you can look up maybe on Wikipedia, and they've got the information that they took from the Tax and Trade Bureau website for what is a bonded whiskey. There's no age statement. So I'll let you know it's at least 4 years aged. Because if it's less than 4 years, they have to give an age statement on the bottom. Above 4 years, it's optional. Sweet, woody, whiskey flavor, a little caramel, the sugar, maybe some oak. Yeah, you know, kind of a stereotypical aroma. A little spice, yeah. And it's growing from that high rye mash bill. So the rye is growing. And that's what sets off this from the others. There's also the old Overhalt, another old brand that Beam took. Oak. The strong riciness. No, the strong rye notes. I'm gonna keep saying the word notes. Rye spiciness. Okay, you're familiar with rye bread, a Reuben sandwich, those type of things. This could or could not appeal to various people. Okay, right. So it's like a personal preference thing. Some people are gonna say, "Oh, rye whiskey, I hate it." Other people would say, "That's my thing." Totally a personal preference issue. It's not a reflection of quality, okay? I like it. I tend to like those strong flavors, okay? The spicy flavors especially, so yes, it appeals to me. There's corn. Certainly a mentholated note, especially on the exhalation. Menthol, yeah. Alcohol, strong alcohol, you figure 50% alcohol, it's going to be strong. It has some of the underlying Jim Beam mossiness and greenwood, some of that, right? So all of this stuff may be coming from a base, an identical or nearly identical base. I don't know. I do not know their internal operations. But from my experience with these Beam products, all the ones I named, and the modern Old Crow, yes, there is a commonality of flavor and aroma. It's not identical, but it's a commonality. It's sort of like you might say a house style, which once again may or may not appeal to you. If you hate that mossiness, that green wood, that you say, oh no, Jim Beam, that's the worst. You know, that's the worst. If you like it, if you like that, then you're gonna say, yeah. Okay, all right. Certainly, I noticed with the 40-year-old bottle, that 40-year-old bottle of the Old Crow, there was none of that. No mossiness, no green wood, none of that. It was just a totally different thing. Well, you know why? Because it was a totally different company at that time. Doesn't say anything about sour mash. If they're using a sour mash process, I don't know. Naturally, if you check out the Old Crow, it certainly is using that. Medium, almost into the more of a heavy, abundant body. It's sort of a long finish. It doesn't just drop off. I mean, I really like it. I'm thinking it's really dynamite. How does it compare to the not the original, because it only came out a few years ago, the 80 proof Old Grandad, just the regular Old Grandad bourbon? Well, it's a lot better, I think, because it's richer and it has more of a full, bold flavor. Other people might find it's worse because they would find it too rich, too bold, and too harsh. Once again, personal preference issue. The issue I took with this one, the standard offering, the standard expression, was that it was so close in quality and overall presentation to Old Crow, which is half the price, that there was no incentive, there would be no incentive for me to buy that over the Old Crow. Now, how would this bonded compare to the Old Crow Reserve, which is a 6-year age, what is it, 94 proof version, or is it 86? I don't know. It's stronger than the standard 80. How would it hold up? I don't know. I have never seen that Old Crow in a store around here. Apparently it's no longer, or it's not at all available in this state. So if you're paying $22 for a standard bottle of this, $7.50, yeah, I think you're getting a good deal. It was $11 for that one, and it was $9 for the standard, and that was $20 even, and that's all I was charged. There was no added on tax. Now, what's the answer to that question? I don't know. I did not ask. I gave in the $20 and I left the store. Okay. I think it's a little bit more approachable than the Old Crow Bonded, even though that was from 1977. That one is a little rougher around the edges. This one is a little smoother, more refined, more enjoyable. Although I have to admit, on an everyday basis, and I don't drink whiskey every day, but I guess every week off and on. But on a regular basis, let's use that terminology, on a regular basis, I would probably be inclined to go for the 80 proof. Which means in that case, I would be drinking the Old Crow, because it would be so much cheaper, about $11. But anyway, there's no complaints here. I mean, if you're going to say this is bad, it's no good, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so I did the standard Old Grandad, and somebody said, I hope he didn't hurt your back reaching down onto the bottom shelf. I said, no, the guy reached for me. But first of all, it's not on the bottom shelf. Okay, it's on the mid shelf. You're not going to see it on the bottom shelf in any liquor store. You'll see Old Crow down there. But I would give it a high recommendation. I mean, it's definitely worth trying once. Now, whether it should be part of your regular rotation, this I do not know. Well made, enjoyable, no detriments, no negatives. What does that tell you? If it's got no negatives, there's nothing wrong with it. There's a lot of positives. There's a lot of things right with it. So, thank you for watching this video production. Old Granddad bonded version. Soup. Oh, you can feel that burn. Watch it, kids. Watch it, people. But sharp looking bottle design. I mean, that is attractive, is it not? And you take care.